Sure. Well, I guess welcome everyone. We're excited to get this season underway. It's exciting to kind of have what feels like a bit more of a normal season this year. We've been back training for a little while. Right now, we have two of our team members, Molly and Natalie, who are actually down in Peru right now, competing at the Junior World Championships with the U.S. Junior National Team, and also Sarah, our assistant coach, is down there serving as a assistant U.S. coach as well, which is a cool experience for them. So smaller crew for us this weekend, but we're excited to get on the road and go and compete at two good venues against two good teams and get the season started.
All right, fellas, if you want to start off by using the raised hand feature, we'll go to questions. And we'll start with Kevin Kinder.
Hey, Coach, thanks for doing this.
Hey, welcome.
In starting to assemble, your roster, see what people have done, what is the summer like for the members of your team? I know there's some international and other competitions they can get to, but like on a daily, weekly basis, is a lot of it getting away, or are there things that, you have them doing in off-season program?
It's really individual. Like you said, there's a couple internationals. They're typically back home. They might be doing some more training camps or some more international competitions, or really just whatever their country's kind of setup is. For the team members here in the US, it just depends. We had a couple that work all summer, doing some camps and stuff. We had a couple that were in Morgantown, and it's a variety of some of them that shot quite a lot, and then some of them that just took some time off and took that mental break and things like that too. So I don't really kind of give them a set plan that they have to follow, but I'll work with them individually of what they want out of the summer. We'll kind of talk of like how much rest do they need, how much of a break, or how much training do they want to have. Obviously there's it's remote, there's a limit of how much I can really do, but it's more just guiding them on the plan of what they want to do. And then I think this summer was challenging because, it's Olympic year. So the Olympics takes up a big attention of kind of the national stuff. The US Nationals got canceled. There was a lot of places that still weren't really fully, up and running. So there was limited matches for all of them. So it was just really a case of how much rest they took, and then how much just individual, just training on their own they did, whether that was literally at home or whether that was at their local clubs, where they came from. And obviously the couple that were in Morgantown were able to do a little bit of training here at different times too. So pretty varied, to be honest.
Jake, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Sorry, was somebody else speaking? Sorry.
No, you're good.
Hey, Coach. Great to be able to speak with you. It's a great opportunity. The program has really had a lot of success. It's sorry, I got an alarm on my clock. My bad. My phone. It's has more championships than every other program by a lot, but it's been a few years since you won that. What's kind of went wrong there, and what do you think you need to do to get back to winning those sort of titles?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think, we don't look at it necessarily as a what went wrong. I think we're a sport where we don't control the opposition. It's not like football or basketball where you're competing directly against them. You have an influence over the opposition and things like that. And so I think the long and the short of it is other teams have got better. In the last 4 years, we've had, 2 second places, a canceled championship, and last year. So before last year, really nothing had gone wrong. We got beat, in 2018, I think, by just a Kentucky team that shot a school record to beat us, and the highest score ever at a championship. There's not much you can do about that. And then we lost at home, which was just a tough loss at home. Again, we had a great team, a good season. That was hard. It was hard to shoot at home. It was hard for the athletes to shoot under that type of environment that they just never experienced before. The next year was canceled, and then this past year, I think we were just young. Not only were we young, other teams just got better. The Kentucky team that won the championship, this past year, they shot the highest score ever at a national championship, and they're two their two team members went on to, one's the Olympic champion now, and the other one won an Olympic silver medal. So, they had two just amazing shooters. They're back this year. They're comfortably the two best competitors in the country. So I don't think anything has gone wrong, other than Kentucky managed to get two kids that ended up there that are both Olympic medalists. So we just have to go as a group. One thing I kind of highlighted last year to people were, while they won with those two shooters, those two were their only two All-Americans on their whole team. And out of our roster of 10, we had 9 All-Americans. And so I think, how we're progressing and doing is, I can't really ask for much more. We've got great depth on the team, and we just need to keep progressing. And hopefully the team members that we have this year, we just need a couple of them to just continue to get better. It doesn't need to be by much, because a lot of them are international high quality athletes. They just need to keep working hard day to day, push a little bit more, hopefully make a few improvements. And we're going to have to rely on our depth to compete against teams that have that one or two kind of standout team members.
Kevin, go ahead.
Following along with that, Coach, for your fall schedule, I don't want to say it's a tryout, but is that really a lot of internal competition to see, what your roster, what your counters are going to look like when you get down to conference play, conference championship, and NCAAs? And have you ever had this much competition for spots going into a season?
Yeah, to answer your first question, absolutely. We want to have as much competition in the team. I think going back, a couple years, maybe not last year, but certainly a few years before that, that was something that we hadn't had. We had really strong teams, but we didn't have the depth. We really had 4, 5, 6 team members, and we kind of knew what the counting team was going to be at NCAAs pretty easily. Last year, like I said, we had 9 All-Americans. We had a lot of, rotating in and out. We really didn't have a, counting team at the end was maybe quite different from maybe what we thought it might have been at the beginning of the season, and probably the same this year. So absolutely, that has to be an advantage for us to have that inner competition within the team, and just make sure that it's done the right way, that they are fiercely competitive with each other while they're competing. And then off the line, they're supportive teammates that help each other and boost each other up and challenge each other in training and things like that. And so, yeah, it's definitely one of the deepest teams we've had. It's hard to kind of quantify, but we really just lost one team member who graduated, and we brought in, a really excellent freshman who's on the U.S. junior team right now in Peru. So she's going to be as competitive as anyone. She actually had a really good performance yesterday. So yeah, we're going to be as deep as we've been in a long time. And I think, and that's exciting for Sarin and myself to watch them compete with each other. And, they're college students at the end of the day. So all kinds of things change of, stress and how busy they are and academics and all those things filter in. And you never know when someone's really going to make that breakthrough and really make big strides forward. And then you never know when someone's going to have a really challenging semester, whether it be, with personal life or school or all kinds of challenges. So having that depth, I think, to us is a big advantage, and allowing them to compete with each other. And, we'll definitely this semester, we'll probably see a lot of different team members on the counting team. And then that'll be our thing to narrow that down and see who kind of rises to the top come February and March time.
Jake, go ahead.
Of your roster of 10, 4 of them were sophomores. So obviously their freshman year was the COVID year. And as kind of getting back closer to normal, do you think there's an adjustment there that is difficult to go through for them, or something to overcome? Or
yeah, I think definitely. I think, as you guys know, and I'm sure as you've talked to other coaches and athletes, and last year was tough, and as a freshman, you were either essentially confined to your dorms. You didn't really get to experience what college is all about in terms of going out and having a social life. You most of the time, you might not have even been sitting in classrooms. You were so like you said, we, to some degrees, those 4 sophomores are kind of repeating their freshman year. They're getting new experiences this year that they didn't have, whether that's what it's like to actually go downtown and go to class every day, or, really get out and meet people, or, you know, and now most of them are now in an apartment rather than a dorm room. But yeah, add Natalie to that, it's almost like half of our team are kind of experience what it, you know, a normal college year for the first time. So, you know, I think that's, you know, I don't know if that's good or bad. It's just the nature of the beast that, you know, we're still are a fairly young team overall experience wise. I think for those 4 sophomores, they're all going to experience that differently of what their experience was like last year and how they adapted, and then how they're adapting this year. But I would definitely say, you know, it's a challenge and something that they will all have to adapt to, and you know, we'll try and be there to help them, you know, and guide them through that as much as possible, as will our whole, you know, athletic staff as well.
Any more questions for Coach Hammond? Hold on, Kevin's got a question here. Go on ahead, I'll let you go.
Thanks. One more, John. The learning about, you know, competing and shooting in college. Obviously, majority of these people have been to major national and international competitions. So, and like you said, they're not, you know, going up and facing off like a basketball or a football player does. So from a coaching standpoint, what is the biggest challenge you have in getting youngsters, people that are new to the college environment, you know, used to these competitions?
You know, there's a couple small logistical things of just the course of fire. In college, we shoot a small bore match, and then we turn around 30-40 minutes later and shoot an air rifle match. So I think that's a little bit different, but that's easily trained, and you kind of get used to that, both the mental endurance and physical endurance. Some of them all come in with different training, you know, habits and schedules. So some of them may not be used to training every day, maybe more like intense training for a week or two, then a rest, then kind of on and off. And then also they're trying to combine it with school. Oftentimes, not just our international kids, but our US kids, you know, they might train a lot in the summer or when school's quiet. And then when school's busy, they're busy with school. And then as a college athlete, you're really combining those two and having to do them both. So, I mean, just little things like that. And then I think I wouldn't say it's necessarily an adjustment to college, but just for us in general, you know, it's really hard to just replicate competition, just the feelings, and for us too, like to replicate the extra feelings of whether it's just, you know, stress or excitement or nervousness or whatever from NCAA championships. You know, our record throughout the year doesn't really influence whether we go to NCAAs or not, and so there's not the same maybe intensity for those matches. So as a coaching staff, like trying to find ways in training to increase the excitement or the nerves or the perceived pressure, as it were, and that's a challenge, you know, and so hopefully them competing with each other can try and create that. But I think, as a lot of athletes will say, like, same as football players, nothing can replicate running out in front of 60,000 fans. Like, they don't get that in practice. So the same in basketball, and it's the same for us. So we have to be creative with training drills and training exercises and things like that to push them and challenge them to really create that. And we're never going to replicate it, but we can just try and close the gap as much as possible.